In this video, you're going to learn the 3 ways to connect with God with your heart, mind, and soul. Let's check it out. So then the question becomes, what are the 3 different words, just as a quick recap? But the 3 words are this: we have heart, we have mind, and we have soul. So the heart is your conscious feelings and affections. The mind is your thinking through, your understanding, your sentiment, or your reasoning. And the soul is your life. It's your inner person. It's your one self. It's your whole self. I asked you at the beginning of this, do you love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your mind and all your soul? Here's actually another way you can ask it. Do you love the Lord your God with all your conscience? Do you love the Lord your God with all your feelings? When you worship God, do you actually worship him with all your emotion? Or you kind of just stand here with your hands down to your side with your coffee in your hand and you hear something as incredible as, how great is our God, or I will build my life upon your love, and you're just standing there going, oh, that's a good sounding song. Like when you worship, when you read, are you reading scripture with all your sentiment and understanding, as if your life depended on it, so you can encounter the Lord? When you love the Lord, do you love him with all of your life, with all of your inner person? Do you love him with your whole self? When you serve people on behalf of God, are you serving them with all your affection, with all your emotion? And here's what I love about this command. Some of us identify as heart people before we do as the mind, and some of us identify as mind people before we do the heart. And for the record, we all have everything, okay? But in terms of processing things in life, you might reflect or connect with the Lord more so with your heart than you do with your mind. And for others, you might connect with the Lord from a more logical standpoint, meaning you connect with him with your mind before you do with your heart. But here's the deal. Me personally, I'm a heart person. My wife is a mind person. So as a heart person, here's what this means. I connect with God naturally with my conscious feelings and affections, which means I have to intentionally connect with God with my understanding, my sentiment, and my reasoning. Am I making sense? And if you're a mind person, because you connect with him logically, the understanding and sentiment side of you is going to instantly have that connection with you and the Lord. But it might be harder for you to love the Lord your God with all of your conscious feelings and affections. But here's the deal. If I'm a heart person, I don't get to go, well, I'm doing pretty good with loving the Lord my God with all my heart, but not my mind. I don't get to opt out of that. And if you're a mind person, you don't get to go, well, I'm doing pretty good with loving the Lord my God with all my understanding, my sentiment, my reasoning, and I'm just going to leave the heart over there. That ain't what Jesus said. It's not a suggestion. It's not something that the Lord highly recommends. Jesus commands it. So what am I saying? It's the perfect equalizer. Everybody gets to smoke. Everyone's being challenged here. None of us get to pick and choose, well, I'll love him with my soul, but not my mind. Or the mind is just not natural for me, so I don't want to do that. And can I just say, the most important part actually I can say with all of this is that you don't have to wait to feel like it in order to do any of this. Our willingness and ability to love the Lord, your God, who wants a relationship with you, has nothing to do with how you feel. Doesn't matter. Matter of fact, I would argue that it's even a greater obedience on our end when we don't feel like it and we still do it. Like, there are many times, as much as I love worship, I have a natural worshiper's heart, but there are times in my life, especially this past year, I did not feel like worshiping God. Why? Because things would get hard. There's trials, there's tribulations. And in the same moments when I recognized I didn't feel like worshiping was the same moment that I tapped in with my mind to worship him. And halfway through the song, I'm up here bawling my eyes out. Why? Because I took action first with my mind, with my sentiment and understanding, so that I can worship him as well with all my heart. So the funny thing is, where my heart was being consumed by fear or discouragement, I actually started loving the Lord my God with all my mind first to get me to love him with all my heart. Here's another way of saying it. Many times it's easier for you to act your way into a feeling than it is to feel your way into an action. Meaning, if you wait to feel right before you can love the Lord your God with all of your soul and all your mind and heart, you may be waiting until Jesus comes back. And that's not a joke. It's okay if you don't feel like it. You guys do things every single day you don't feel like doing. Y'all go to work. We pay bills. I got to put gas in the car. I don't feel like doing any of that. But I do it. Why? Because there's actual consequence to it. And we may not think of it or feel it in this sense because it doesn't come as immediate, but there is actually a consequence to us not loving the Lord our God with all of our soul, with all of our mind, and with all of our heart. And the other thing is, this doesn't mean that with all the understanding that's out there in the world, that Jesus is asking us to love him with that. Jesus is asking you with whatever you currently know, this very moment, as of today, are you loving him with all of that understanding? With what you know and what you've experienced of the Lord, are you loving him with all of your feelings as of right now? With the implied task that when I wake up tomorrow and I grow and encounter him more, guess what? I've grown in more understanding, so I love him with all that. And the next day, I grow in more of my conscience and my feelings, so I love him with more of that. Am I making sense? So the Lord is not holding us accountable to what we don't know. He is holding us accountable to what we do know. And with your current understanding, sentiment, your feelings, your conscience, your life, your inner person, the Lord is just going, love me with all of that and watch me do the rest. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to watch the entire episode, go ahead and tap over here. If you want to see clips from the show, tap over here, or you don't have to do any of that. And I'm just thankful for the gift of your time. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.